Welcome to the world of unsolved mysteries, where the unknown lurks behind every corner and the truth seems to slip through our fingers like sand. Today, I'm taking you on a journey into the darkest corners of the human experience, where the most baffling and terrifying crimes remain shrouded in mystery. From disappearances that defy explanation to gruesome murders that leave investigators stumped, the cases I'll be covering today are guaranteed to send chills down your spine. There's the baffling case of the Dyatlovpass incident, where 9 experienced hikers met a mysterious and gruesome end in the Russian wilderness. Then there's the chilling tale of the Mary Celeste, a ship found abandoned and adrift in the Atlantic with no signs of its crew on board. And if that's not enough, we'll delve into the eerie disappearance of the Sodder children, who vanished from their home on Christmas Eve, leaving behind only cryptic clues and endless questions. In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers embarked on an expedition to the Ural Mountains, but their journey ended in tragedy. The dyatlovpass incident, as it came to be known, is still widely considered one of the most bizarre and unexplained events in the realm of unsolved mysteries. The central problem is this: 9 seasoned hikers died under extremely strange circumstances, and to this day, we still don't know what happened. Their bodies were found weeks later, and the investigation that followed only added to the mystery. The lack of clear explanations has led to endless speculation, and the case remains one of the most fascinating and confounding in history. The hikers' bodies were found with strange injuries, some of which were inexplicable. One of the group members had a missing tongue, while another had severe internal injuries. The investigation found no signs of struggle or attack, and the hikers' clothing and gear were still intact. It's as if they died suddenly, without warning, and without any apparent cause. Despite the numerous investigations and theories, we still don't know what triggered the hikers' demise. Was it a natural phenomenon, a man-made error, or something more sinister? The lack of concrete evidence has left us with more questions than answers. It's a puzzle that continues to baffle experts and amateur sleuths alike. The investigation found some bizarre clues, including strange footprints, odd scraps of clothing, and a mysterious camera with undeveloped film. These clues only added to the enigma, and the case remains a source of endless fascination and speculation. Igor Dyatlov, the leader of the group, was an experienced hiker and athlete. He was confident and charismatic, and his friends and family described him as extremely cautious. The other hikers were equally experienced, and they were all well equipped for the expedition. So what went wrong? The environmental conditions the hikers faced were extreme. The Ural Mountains are known for their harsh winters, and the group was caught in the midst of a severe snowstorm. The temperatures were well below freezing, and the winds were strong enough to knock a person off their feet. But even these extreme conditions don't fully explain the hikers' deaths. The investigation found some peculiar signs of distress, including ripped tents and abandoned equipment. It was as if the hikers panicked and fled in haste, but without any clear reason. The more we learn about the incident, the more questions we're left with. One of the most compelling theories is that the hikers died due to a freak weather phenomenon known as an infrasound. This is a type of sound wave that's beyond human hearing, but it can cause extreme physical distress. Some experts believe that the hikers were exposed to an infrasound wave, which led to their bizarre behavior and ultimately their deaths. Another theory is that the hikers stumbled upon a secret military experiment which somehow went wrong. This theory is based on reports of strange lights and sounds in the area, which some believe could be evidence of military activity. While this theory is still purely speculative, it's certainly an intriguing one. The most shocking piece of evidence discovered was the hikers' radioactive clothing. Yes, you heard that right, radioactive. It's unclear how the hikers came into contact with radioactive materials, but it's certainly a bizarre and sinister twist. In conclusion, The Dyatlovpass incident is a mystery that continues to fascinate and confound us. Despite numerous investigations and theories, we still don't know what happened to those 9 hikers. The incident has had a lasting impact on popular culture, inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries. The eerie tale of the Mary Celeste, a ship that vanished from history after being discovered abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean. What's most baffling about the Mary Celeste is that it was found adrift, with no signs of damage or struggle. The ship was seaworthy, the cargo untouched, and yet the entire crew had vanished into thin air. The biggest question that has puzzled historians and the public alike is what happened to the crew, and why did they leave the ship in such a hurry? Theories have swirled around the incident, from mutiny to pirate attacks, but none of them seem to fit the evidence. There were no signs of violence or forced entry, and the crew's personal belongings, including their valuables, were still intact. The only clue was a disarrayed life raft, which suggested that the crew might have left in a hurry, but even that didn't explain why they would abandon a perfectly good ship. Another strange aspect of the Mary Celeste's disappearance is that the crew's logbook, navigation equipment, and even the clock were still intact, suggesting that the crew had not been in a state of panic. On the contrary, it seemed like they had simply gotten up and left, leaving behind a perfectly functional ship. The mystery deepens when you consider the weather conditions at the time. The Mary Celeste was found in the middle of the Atlantic, with no signs of bad weather or stormy conditions that would have forced the crew to abandon ship. The Mary Celeste was built in 1861, and its story began as a humble merchant ship transporting goods across the Atlantic. Its reputation was that of a reliable and sturdy vessel, with an experienced captain, Benjamin Briggs, at the helm. The ship's final voyage began on November 7, 1872, from New York to Genoa, Italy, with a cargo of industrial alcohol. As the Mary Celeste sailed across the Atlantic, it's believed that the crew encountered some kind of issue that forced them to abandon ship. But what that issue was, we may never know. Over the years, various theories have emerged, from pirate attacks to supernatural events. Some have suggested that the crew might have encountered a giant squid or a massive wave, but these theories are largely speculative. Contact with pirates was frowned upon, and one fable has it that the crew and their parrots fled the disaster. One of the most compelling theories is that the Mary Celeste experienced a phenomenon known as a flash flood, where a sudden influx of water into the ship's hold could have forced the crew to abandon ship quickly. However, this theory doesn't explain why the crew would leave behind their valuables and personal belongings. Another theory suggests that the crew might have been affected by the industrial alcohol on board, which could have released toxic fumes, causing them to become disoriented and abandon ship. However, this theory is also not supported by concrete evidence. The discovery of the Mary Celeste is a story in itself. On December 5, 1872, the ship was found adrift in the Atlantic by the British ship Dei Gratia. The crew of the Dei Gratia boarded the Mary Celeste, finding it in a state of disarray, but with no signs of foul play or struggle. The most intriguing aspect of the discovery was the cryptic message found on the ship's deck, an unsolved puzzle that has captivated the imagination of people for over a century. The message read, "Farewell, mate, goodbye." A haunting farewell from a crew that seemed to have vanished into thin air. One of the most captivating aspects of the Mary Celeste's story is the sheer mystery that surrounds it. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the truth about what happened to the crew remains unknown. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest mysteries are those that are closest to us. And the Mary Celeste story continues to fascinate people to this day. In conclusion, the Mary Celeste disappearance is a reminder that the sea still holds many secrets, and sometimes the most plausible explanations are the ones that are the most unsettling. The mystery of the Mary Celeste continues to haunt us, leaving us with more questions than answers. In the early morning hours of Christmas Eve in 1945, a fire ravaged the Sodder family's home in Fayetteville, West Virginia, leaving behind a trail of secrets and unanswered questions that would haunt the family for decades to come. The blaze claimed the lives of 5 of the 9 Sodder children, or so it seemed. Did they perish in the flames, or did they somehow manage to escape only to be taken away by someone or something? The investigation that followed yielded more questions than answers, leaving the Sodder family to pick up the pieces and begin a relentless pursuit of truth. As the years went by, the mystery surrounding the Sodder children's disappearance only deepened. Theories abounded, from claims of a serial killer to suspicions of a government conspiracy. But one thing remained constant: the Sodder family's unwavering determination to uncover the truth about their loved ones. One of the most baffling aspects of the case is the complete lack of evidence pointing to the children's fate. Despite the presence of multiple eyewitnesses, including the Sodder parents themselves, no one claimed to have seen the children escape the burning house or be taken away by someone else. It's as if they vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the faintest whispers of their existence. On that fateful night, the Sodder children were last seen by their mother, who had fallen asleep with her youngest child, Sylvia. When she awoke to the sound of a loud crash, the house was already engulfed in flames. In the chaos that followed, the family managed to rescue 4 of the children, but the other 5 were nowhere to be found. Theories about their disappearance ranged from accidental death in the fire to deliberate abduction by someone with a grudge against the Sodder family. The night of the fire remains shrouded in mystery, with multiple eyewitnesses providing conflicting accounts of what they saw and heard. One thing is certain, however: the Sodder family was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered life, forever changed by the events of that Christmas Eve. The family's search for answers spans decades, with various leads and tips emerging over the years. Some were credible, while others were outright fabrications, but one tip, received many years after the fire, would change the course of the investigation forever. The tip claimed that one of the missing Sodder children, a boy named Johnny, was alive and living in a town not far from Fayetteville. The Sodder family was electrified by the news, and they immediately began investigating the lead. Could it be true? Was Johnny, who would have been around 14 at the time of the fire, still alive, living a life completely unrelated to his family? The family's hopes were raised, only to be cruelly dashed once again. The Sodder children's case has had a profound impact on American culture, captivating the imagination of true crime enthusiasms and sparking a seemingly endless stream of speculation and theories. And yet, despite the many leads and tips that have emerged over the years, the central mystery remains unsolved. What really happened to the Sodder children? As we reflect on this enduring mystery, we're left with more questions than answers. Did the Sodder children truly perish in the flames? Or did they survive, only to be taken away by someone or something? The world may never know the truth, but one thing is certain: the Sodder children's case will continue to fascinate and haunt us for generations to come. Which case is more intriguing? And what do you think really happened in those 3 mysteries? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're fascinated by famous unsolved mysteries and crimes, be sure to subscribe to our channel to watch our next video, where we'll delve into another captivating case or an interesting story. Thanks for watching Nest of Crime.